Hey peeps, we are back. We're talking the Real Housewives of New Jersey, season 13, episode 17, which is the reunion, part 2. Hey, before we get into the video, please do me the honors of subscribing to my channel, hitting the notification bell so you can always be notified when I post new content, hitting the thumbs up because that does wonders for my channel, and share. Thanks. So, before we get into the reunion, did anybody else find this episode a little lackluster? The big explosive reunion was over at Vanderpump. Oh my gosh, that was good last night. Anyway, so before we get into the show, I did see that Page 6 posted an article on the 6th, which was a couple days ago, saying that Louie's ex-fiance has filed a restraining order against Louie amidst claims that he hired a PI to stalk her. Honey, this thing just keeps getting crazier and crazier. This lady is insinuating that, and it turns out that his ex-fiance is a therapist, and she's alleging that Louie hired someone who works at Bo Diddle's office to come in and pretend to be a patient, gave her a fake name but their real address, which is really dumb if they did that. All of this is alleged, and was in there asking her questions about her past relationship with Louie. She said that she tried to dodge and weave the lady's questions, but the lady was asking her if she was happy for Louie, if things didn't work out for Louie, would she be willing to take him back? That's just some of the things that she is alleging that this lady was asking her. Listen, there is so much going on online right now, and I don't have time to do a deep dive into Louie and this lady. I'm also hearing that maybe Louie had a restraining order against her or one of her other ex-boyfriends. I don't know. What I find is the common denominator is Louie. And the next thing that I find is that all of these people are odd. Okay? And what's weird to me is Louie has a family full of therapists. He's always promoting therapy. His ex is a therapist, and they all seem nuts. That's just my opinion, and I'm not a therapist, but I'm just saying there is something wrong with these people. Listen, there is also someone who has sent a letter that is blaming and criticizing and giving all of Rachel Fuda's business. Now listen, this letter is too long and I am not about to read it, but I will post it. And you guys can take all the time you want, place it on pause, put us on pause like Dorinda Medley, and read this mess about Rachel. Not sure who wrote this letter. They are saying that it was a creditable source, but it does seem like this person knows them somehow. They are alleging that Rachel and John Fuda mainly hire illegal immigrants to work for them, and that they mistreat them terribly, that they don't hardly pay them, and they don't get reported because people don't want to be arrested and then deported. So they're getting away with hurting these hardworking illegal immigrants. They're stating that Rachel's mom had some sort of big affair, lost some man's pension, and that Rachel's mom and her sister, which would be Rachel's aunt, had an affair with somebody. Honey, listen, I don't know why they think we need to know about Rachel's mom and aunt. That is not our business. They are not truly a part of the show. We just seen her mom on 1 or 2 episodes for 5 or 6 minutes. I don't think they deserve it. But if John is out here doing this to hardworking people, this is bullshit. And I hope that he's reported by somebody somewhere, found out. You cannot disrespect, hurt, use, and abuse innocent people. It's not okay. Personally, I am not here for Rachel. I think that Rachel and her family are beautiful, but they can go on about their business. The little segment that they had on the show with Rachel was a waste of time for me. I wanted to fast forward through it. Do I think that John's ex was reached out to by the media because of Louie? No, that makes absolutely no sense. You were on a national reality show that usually has pretty good ratings, and you are talking about adopting this woman's child and then also saying that she's a piece of crap. She's a scumbag. Of course, different bloggers, different tabloid newspapers, The Sun. Of course they're going to reach out to her to get her side of the story. You think they're just going to let it sit when they can make a few dollars off of finding out what her story is? Give me a break. At some part in the show, too, they had Jen Fessler and Jackie out there. Listen, Jackie's comments about Ozempic. If you are on Ozempic and you're just using it for weight loss, yes, there could be weight gain if you just go off of it. However, after watching Dr. Jen Ashton on Good Morning America and speaking to my own doctor, which currently, I know it's not anybody's business, but currently I am on Ozempic, but not for weight loss. I'm on Ozempic because I was recently diagnosed as type 2 diabetic. Anyway, Dr. Jen Ashton and my physician stated that if you are using any of these diabetic drugs for weight loss, you can gain the weight back if you go off cold turkey. They say that you should step down your dosage, periodically take less and less until you can completely come off of it and continue with your diet and exercise. That way you don't have to worry about gaining the weight back. Jen Fessler and all of her enhancements, you know what? I'm here for a woman making any changes she wants. You want to do X, Y, and Z, go ahead and do it. If you feel good, I feel great. But I personally thought that Jen Fessler was gorgeous before all of this. And that was pretty much it for them. I mean, she did make a little comment later that, somebody had mentioned that Marge mentioned that Louie belittles Teresa, and that's 100% fact. That man will belittle the hell out of her, and she knows it. I don't know why she sat there and act surprised. Cut the crap. Louie belittles the hell out of you. And Jen Fessler said, well, he belittled me. Facts. I agree with that. Now, Andy, we don't need Jackie back. She was a housewife. You gave her a chance. Too much of a chance, if you ask me. Then you brought her back as friend of. We don't need it. Please let it go.
Well, you were married to the person who was responsible for you going to jail.
So you should sue Jacqueline Larita texted to Jackie Goldschneider.
I know I shouldn't care, but her arrogance, her voice, and the fact that she gets away with way too much after being a nasty asshole bothers me. She is a low-life trash bucket. She's stupid, but also very calculating. Even with her 2 facelifts and eye lifts, Botox fillers, new boobs, she's still so ugly and she thinks she's a goddess. LOL.
Okay, well,
I'm not bitter at all.
wait,
LOL.
Jacqueline's gonna
Every
come after
time,
you, babe.
every classless train
Sleep
wreck,
with one eye
she
open.
doesn't get it.
This is bad for you, Melissa. You're going down.
And Jacqueline also said you look like trash, so
Okay.
whatever.
And she said you were a whore.
That's funny.
Well,
I'm glad
I'm
going to
move on. The birth mom was contacted.
Because there was information found about what prison she was in, where she was.
Louie tracked her down?
Had somebody track her down.
I just, whatever.
And my brother was fine with you saying that?
You think I was being serious?
That's something I would ever say.
Do you think she was serious?
It doesn't matter. She's married. She has children. She should not say something like that.
So wait, so you call people, see you next Tuesdays. You have children, you should not say those words.
Jennifer and Teresa were forewarning them.
It's better to keep her as a friend than an enemy. She's a master manipulator.
And it was like making it out like I'm not a good person.
Okay. You had already told Melissa the rumor that you heard from Laura?
Mm-hmm.
So then why did you bring it up on camera to Danielle? Danielle, how do you react now knowing Jen had told her?
Well, I didn't know that.
I know.
That was my point. They knew everybody.
Do you feel set up?
I don't understand. Well, did you guys set me up?
Listen, I'm sorry if it came across that way. I did not realize that that's how
Jennifer,
it was
you're
going
pretty
down.
smart. You realize it.
I really didn't, though. I don't feel set up.
Okay.
I don't.
All right.
I don't feel set up.
I think you might walk away from this having an opinion about it.
There has been such angry arguments in this show, and it has never, ever gotten to the point it's gotten to right now. And the only thing different is Louie.
Hold on!
You're weak.
Stop! I swear to God.
She's weak.
No, I'm not. Don't use my
God,
word. I
you
use
guys
the
are
word.
like f***ing kindergartners. It's crazy. You don't.
She's fake and phony.
You don't grow.
Oh,
you
so
don't
that's
evolve.
creative.
You
Proud
guys
of
should
your
just
new
keep
bitch
talking.
boy.
You guys should just keep talking over each other
Guess we
every
gotta-
second.
So the show picks up right where it left off. Now, they are back to this conversation on if Joe and Melissa turned Teresa and Joe in. Andy makes this comment that Teresa is married to the person responsible for her going to jail. And that's 100% fact. Do I think that Teresa knew exactly what it was that Joe was doing? No, I don't. I think that Joe was her husband. She followed his lead. He said, sign this, sign that, and she did. Joe brought home the money and she was able to take care of the family and shop. She did what he told her to do. It was wrong. She went to jail. She served her time. It's over. Why we keep circling back to try to find a way for Joe and Melissa to be responsible for this, I have no idea. Was Joe talking to the people who turned Joe Giudice in? Possibly. But even if he was, who's to say, and gosh, you guys know I'm not Team Gorga, but even if he was, who says that he helped them? You know what I mean? I just don't think that you can prove that Joe and Melissa had something to do with this. The same way we could not prove that Mary and Meredith turned Jen Shaw in. There's no proof to it. I think Teresa needs to stop beating this dead horse. Now, this text message that Marge couldn't wait to scream to Melissa. Oh, tell her about Jacqueline's text to Jackie. I mean, seriously, I thought that was extremely disgusting. And you know what else I thought was disgusting? That Andy Cohen sat there very amused, smiling. He allowed Melissa to read that entire text message. And then when Teresa and Dolores had something to say, he moved the conversation. There was no allowing them to reply back. Andy needs to go. This is just my opinion. I think that Andy has favorites. I think that Andy is extremely biased. I also think that Andy is very unprofessional. And I also think that dealing with these toddler senior citizens is extremely difficult for him. They have got to switch up. I think that Andy has so much power and privilege over there at Bravo. First of all, Watch What Happens Live is still on when the ratings are low as hell. Okay, why is this show still on when clearly on most nights there's less than 300,000 people watching? He's able to keep his show because he is Andy Cohen. I think that he needs to continue to executive produce, hang out over there at Watch What Happens Live. Do your thing over there, Andy. But you need to remove yourself as the host of these reunions. Dolores saying to Melissa, you know, this is going to be bad for you. I agree with that. Melissa was wrong for that. Jacqueline did respond, and she said that that text message to Jackie was back in 2021. Her and Teresa were not friends, and she was very angry with Teresa. She says that she said things that she would not say now. She said that her and Teresa have made up. They're back to being Lucy and Ethel, and she is, you know, pretty much really sorry that she said those things. Later on, somebody dropped some text between Jackie and Jacqueline talking about Teresa, which was back in 2021, I believe. And both Jackie and Jacqueline were very rude and very disgusting, speaking about Teresa, calling her stupid many, many times. In one of the messages, it says, she is the worst human being and gets away with so much. I've never met a bigger piece of garbage in my life. Oh, and I've met some pretty awful people. I hate how everyone kisses her ass, bows down to her. She's trash. Then she replies, it's the fucking worst. I'm constantly standing alone with the group. Everyone is terrified of her. It's mind-boggling how stupid she is. So, as I'm reading these texts, the blue text is Jackie. The gray text is Jacqueline. Dolores is a little disappointing because she used to say so much behind Teresa's back and then got on camera and kissed her ass. She is definitely stupid. Laugh out loud, a child. Okay, so is she calling Dolores stupid there? I don't know, but I think that Jacqueline might be in a little bit of trouble here. All right, so Jackie says she's an anti-Semite, but I've never said anything out loud. She hates me, like I don't belong anywhere near her or this group of friends. It's frustrating. She takes all of her aggression out on me. Boy, these texts are hard to read. They're so blurry. Jacqueline replies, it's your name. It reminds her of me. Laugh out loud. Sorry. If everyone would just quit kissing her ass and letting her rule instead of just standing up to her and say how they really feel about her, it would be awesome. They are just followers. It's actually pathetic. She's not even that cool girl in school. She's a joke to laugh at because of how dumb she is. You are the only one with any balls to stand up to her. She can't outsmart you, outclass you, look as good as you, have the family love that you have the money that you have, the education that you have, or ever have anything as good as you. Therefore, she hates you. All right, now listen, Jackie and Jacqueline have really gone too damn far here. One thing I could say she can do better than Jackie, she could entertain us better than you. And I would say the same for Jacqueline Larita. I was never a huge Jacqueline Larita fan. Jacqueline and Jackie, both of them, if you ask me, in these text messages, which is all alleged, I don't know where these text messages came from, but they are claiming that it was from a creditable source, which we know what that means. It could be anybody. I mean, this creditable source could be the guy who, waited their table at Spago last Thursday. The thing about this is you just insulted the entire cast. This is going to come back on them at some point. I know that right now they say that they're on a little bit of a pause while Bravo, Universal, and Andy try to figure out what they're going to do about this cast. Personally, if they decided that they wanted to scrap the entire cast and bring back a whole new group of people, I wouldn't mind it. Not one little bit. I just cannot go one more season with Joe and Melissa and Teresa and Louie going back and forth like this. This is dead. This storyline is over. Come with something else. I'm sick of it. No, I do not want Kathy and the rest of the Wahilis back. No, I do not want Carolyn Manzo back. I do not want any of the Manzos or the Laritas back. Just leave us alone. Bring on some new housewives or something. I'm sick of it.
Are you happy in your marriage?
So happy. I wouldn't trade him in for anything.
Do you believe her, Margaret?
I am going to just say this. I can understand why Jennifer's still mad. I'm not taking responsibility about her children because from that, what happened, there was obviously issues going on for years. Okay.
What about calling her a drug addict?
Yeah,
because I smoke weed.
No, but when your vices is your entire lifestyle.
Oh, stop. You know what? This is why I call her old.
You seem to have no problem exposing the affair rumor about Melissa. Do you see how that can be hypocritical?
It was done to me, and I thought if they had this information, would they be hesitant to share it? I didn't believe it.
I never shared your information about your husband's thing.
Margaret did.
I didn't.
I'm sorry, Melissa.
Watching the finale and hear him say, Bo Dietl has a file on every single person in this room. Who does that?
Family, my child was called and threatened at work. Okay? By Louie.
right.
I never want to see his sham of a face again.
Okay, well, you're about to. All right.
What?
So at some point in the reunion, they played the clip of Melissa drunk in Ireland saying that she was going to drunk dial her ex or something like that. She said that it was just a joke. I don't really know anybody who jokes like that. But either way, I think that Teresa was doing way too much, talking about how she would never say something like that. I think Melissa was right on point when she mentioned that Teresa has called people much worse. Calling someone to see you next Tuesday is not really cute. And for her to say she's married, she has children, she would never say something like that. I think Teresa needs to reevaluate some of the things that she has said and done in the past as well. Give Melissa a break on this one. Marge going back and forth on that better a friend than an enemy is a bunch of bull. Marge says that Teresa and Jennifer telling Danielle and Rachel that made her look like a bad person. Honey, no one can make you look like a bad person if you're not a bad person. Your behavior on and off the show comes off as you being a bad person. I mean, stop being such a jerk to people. Stop treating people like pieces on a chessboard, and then maybe people would stop talking about you. You make yourself look like a bad person. Move the hell on. Now, this whole thing with Danielle, Jennifer, Teresa, Melissa, and Marge, this rumor situation, listen, Jennifer, give it up. I think this was Jennifer's worst reunion yet. Besides from the crook in her neck, the comebacks, all of it, she is just looking done and over with. First of all, her saying that she is happy in her marriage, it just really looked performative. It looked as if she was forcing herself to say that. That marriage, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, is on life support. Bill is waiting, in my opinion, for those children to graduate high school and head off to college so that he could move out and live his best life. I'm just saying, I think Bill is through. Her making that comment that one therapy session did wonders for their marriage is a bunch of bull. It really is. And then her coming out and trying to apologize to Danielle was bullshit. Andy was 100% right. Danielle, you have to feel as if they set you up. And she did. At the end, you see her telling her husband, they set me up. This whole time, if you, Jennifer, have already told Melissa, Teresa has already told Joe, and the whole thing with Melissa going back and forth saying, you should have invited both of us over. Listen, her loyalty should lie with her brother. So I don't blame her on that. Telling her brother is okay, in my opinion. She also had the option of just telling you and pulling you to the side to talk about it, or she could have did as if Melissa wanted her to and brought them all together to talk about it. Either way, I'm fine with all of it. But the truth behind all of this is Marge, Rachel, and Melissa were absolutely right. Danielle was set up and she was used. They absolutely used her to bring that on the show, and Jennifer can forget it with that half-ass apology that she gave Danielle. No, ma'am. Jennifer and Teresa, they crafted this, and it didn't work out in their favor. Now, when they brought up that she wanted to bring this on the show to embarrass Melissa, Jennifer, come on now. She's given another half-ass apology to Melissa, saying she's sorry, she is a hypocrite. I'm sorry. No, ma'am. Your children were hurt and devastated by Marge's behavior, by what Marge brought onto the show, and everyone felt so bad for you and your children, and we still feel bad for the children. However, by putting this out here this way, you did the same thing to Melissa's kids, and Melissa's kids deserve respect as well. Jennifer Aiden really showed who she was this season, if you ask me. I think Jennifer Aiden was absolutely in the wrong, and she is also a huge hypocrite. Now, her thinking, or Andy thinking, or anyone thinking that Marge was going to take some responsibility, who the hell are they fooling? Marge is absolutely not going to take responsibility for hurting Jennifer's children. She never has, and she never will, because she's a bad person. And I think that Jennifer owed Melissa a better apology. And I think she owes Melissa's children an apology as well. Melissa was not the one who brought the affair to the TV. That was Marge. Now, Frank, you could tell that Frank, he got his new teeth, and him and Joe are trying as hard as they can to get themselves their own little TV show. They are shopping a TV show for him and Joe, and we don't want it. Okay? Frank backstage with all that rah-rah. Boy, if you don't shut the hell on up. Stop with this, talking about it's never been this bad. Yes, it has. For the last 10 to 12 years, it has been this bad. And then for him to try to say that Louie is the reason it's bad, no, I don't think so. You can't blame Louie for all of this. You really can't. Do I think that Louie was calling Marge's son, which she kept calling him a child? Marge, come on, honey. Your children are all grown as hell. And girl, stop it. I do not think that Louie was calling Marge's son's job or daughter's job. He wasn't calling them. And if he would have called them and he didn't want them to know who it was, why would he call them using his real phone number? I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Now, do I buy Teresa's explanation that it was a spoof and it was this and they call me and they do this to me and Marge's phone is calling me right now? Give me a break. I don't buy any of that. Teresa, please stop this. Now, Andy Cohen yelling and screaming, trying to get his questions out over top of Melissa and Teresa acting so childish. Andy said there has been zero growth in either one of them. They are like two kindergarten kids fighting over hopscotch. They are ridiculous. There has been zero growth or development since they got on this show. I would be perfectly fine if Bravo decided to get rid of Joe and Melissa and Teresa and Louie. Just get rid of all of them. It's ridiculous at this point. Also, did anybody happen to watch What Happens Live last night when Lala was on there with Tamra Judge? Tamra and Lala are both Team Melissa, and Tamra also had the nerve to say that the most overrated housewife of all time is Teresa. That to me sounds like somebody who is jealous. Okay, you just got back. Pipe down, Tamra. I still need to watch OC. I haven't watched it yet. Now, Teresa and Melissa going back and forth over bitch boy. Melissa calling Louie a bitch boy. You know what? Louie is a bit of a bitch boy, but there'll never be a bigger bitch boy than Joe Gorga. And Teresa, I don't know if you understand what you're saying, but you just agreed that Louie was a bitch boy and said Joe made him a bitch boy. I don't think I'd go around calling my own husband a bitch boy and then saying that another man made my husband a bitch. That just, no. Just sit back and be quiet. Look pretty in your yellow dress. I'm tired of you, girl. Now, honey, when they talk about Bo Diddley a little bit, Bo Diddley, Bo Diddle, Diddle, Bo Diddle. Listen, I can understand being upset. If I found out that somebody had hired a private investigator and they were all in my business, I would be really pissed off about it as well. I really would. But, you know, Marge and the rest of the girls, they are always in everybody else's business. You know, it's not fun when the rabbit's got the gun. You know what I mean? I'm just over it. The fact that Andy had to go back there and pretty much tell Louie he is concerned, you know, be on your best behavior. Then he has to tell little bitch boy Tiny Hawk Joe, stay in your seat, do not get up. He's giving everybody warnings. I said, oh my God, half of these people have AARP cards. These are grown-ups. The youngest person on the stage is Danielle and Rachel. Why? Why do you have to go pretty much almost to every person on the cast and say, everybody stay in your seat? I don't want anyone to get physical. You know, it's almost as if you have to start that conversation. You know how sometimes when you take your small children into the Walmart, you have to go through the whole, don't touch anything, don't ask for anything, don't run off, stay close to mama, don't talk to strangers. That's like Andy talking to them. Don't overtalk each other. Allow me to ask my question. Give each one an opportunity to talk. Stay in your seat. Don't try to fight anybody. I mean, this is ridiculous. And also, for the record, Frank in his BS about Louie closing down his business and not speaking to Frankie. Some blogger went online and asked Frankie about it. They said, any truth to this? Talking about what Frank was saying on the show. And little Frankie said, absolutely not. Job was great, learned a bunch, and ended up going to a bigger firm. Awesome experience. That doesn't sound the same. I also hear that in this last episode of the reunion that they actually talked to Frankie, and Dolores says that that is not true. Listen, I don't think we need Frank anymore. Dolores has moved on. She has a man, okay? And we don't give a damn about Frank or his girlfriend. I think it's time for Frank to leave us alone. Go on somewhere. Anyway, get down in the comments, you guys. Let me know what you think. And until next time, bye.